You are listening to the 90 Days Later podcast with Anna Charles, episode 221. Welcome to the 90 Days Later podcast, where we talk about what really happens when you take a break from drinking. And it turns out to be the best thing you've ever done. I'm Anna, coach to high achievers who are done waking up with regret and ready to feel in control around alcohol. If you've ever wondered what your life could look like with less wine and more you're in the right place. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, we are talking about your past. Specifically, we're talking about how you think about it. Because while you cannot go back into the past in a time machine and change what's happened, you don't have to sit there thinking about it in the same way you are right now if that is not serving you, right? Because today I want to offer you something that could change everything. Not just how you feel about your drinking history, but how you feel right now, today, as you are listening to this. Now, before I get into the meat of this, if you have been listening to this podcast for a while, and you keep thinking, Anna's always saying I should just book a call and talk with her about the exact plan to get me to where I want to be with my drinking, I am talking to you lovely people specifically today. There is something I want to say to you at the end of this episode, so stay with me. All right, let's talk about the past. A few years ago, my husband and I were invited to a party. Now, it was about 20 to 25 minutes from our home, not that far at all. Easy roads and everything. I remember booking a hotel near the party venue, right, without a second thought. Not because I wanted to stay in a hotel. It wasn't even a particularly nice one, right? I would have much preferred to sleep in my own bed. But I booked it anyway because the alternative, going to a party and not drinking, genuinely did not compute, right? It wasn't even a consideration. It was a given that I would be drinking. The hotel was just the practical solution to that given. I think about that version of me sometimes, right? The one who spent money on a mediocre hotel room, who made those arrangements, all that planning ahead, because she couldn't see going to that party, having fun and driving home without having had any drink. She didn't see all of that could exist in the same evening. So she went through all of these shenanigans and all of this planning just so she could have 2 or 3 glasses of wine or more, right? Those things that are the idea of being able to go and not drink just didn't, and have fun, right, just didn't go together in her mind. Drinking and parties were inextricably linked. They were the same thing. One didn't happen without the other, right? I really want you to think about this. That was me. And here's what I want to tell you about how I look back at that version of me. I don't cringe. I don't feel ashamed. I don't spend time thinking about the money wasted or the nights I can't get back, right? Or the version of myself I wish I'd been sooner. I just think she didn't know yet. That's all. She just didn't know how to do this yet. Now, how many decisions did you take from that place? Right? How many holidays, dinners, weddings, work events, ordinary Wednesday evenings? How many of them were shaped by the assumption that drinking was just part of it, right? Really want you to think about it. Most people I work with can look back and find dozens of those moments. The holiday where you pre-researched the wine list. The family lunch where you got there early to make sure there was enough in the house. The work event where you were just relieved when the drinks were included. Right, the morning after fog that you factored in just as part of the weekend, right? I know I'm not going to be on top form on Saturday because of what's happening on the Friday, so I just won't, expect to get up early or so on the Saturday. I won't have the Saturday I wish for because it's a done deal that I'm going to be drinking too much on Friday. When you look back at all of that, or even just one of those incidents, what do you feel? For a lot of people, it's some version of, I wasted so much time. I wish I'd figured this out sooner. I wish I still had figured this out now, right? Maybe you're looking this to say, I'm still looking back thinking that because I can't say I figured it out yet. Maybe you're thinking, I can't believe I've let it go on so long. Maybe you're thinking, why haven't I done something about this already? And I understand all of that. I really do. But I want to offer you something that might make all of that feel very different, or at least a little different, right? We'll get started with a little different. Here's what's actually happening when you feel bad about your past. And by the way, why this matters so much is when we feel bad about our past, it does not incentivize us to take action to change our future. For all of you out there screaming at me right now saying, no, I need to be hard on myself, to toughen myself up to take action, that is not what happens. Anyhow, so here's what's happening when you're feeling bad about your past. You're not feeling bad because of what happened. You are feeling bad because of what you are thinking right now about what happened. Your past only exists in one place, in your mind, right now, right? It has no physical presence. The only way it shows up in your life today is through the thoughts you are choosing to have about it in this very moment. And this is so important, right? You don't have old shame. You don't have old wounds. You have present day feelings generated by present day thinking about something that happened before, something happened in your past. Any feelings of regret, of disappointment, of why did I let this get on so long, of shame, this is not an old feeling. This is a new one you are creating right now, every time you access those past memories. I know this can feel confronting. I know it can sound like I'm minimizing what happened. I am not. I'm saying something. I'm telling you this because I believe this is brilliant news, right? Nothing that happened back then has the power to hurt you now unless you keep giving it that power with your thoughts and the way you're choosing to think about it. Think about it like this. For cat lovers out there, I don't know what you think about this. This is how I think about it. Imagine someone who is allergic to cats, right? And they go back and they keep rubbing their face in a cat's fur just to make themselves itch and scratch. That is what I think it's like when we want to keep returning to painful memories and thinking thoughts that make you feel terrible that you do nothing about, right? Where we're not having any forward motion. You're just doing that to yourself voluntarily. You're just going back to the well. You're thinking about all the embarrassment, all the times when you overdrank, all the times when your husband or wife looked at you a certain way and you just were nasty or belligerent or whatever. All of those things. You're thinking about that and making yourself today feel a particular way. You're doing this voluntarily and you can stop it. Here is the distinction that changes everything. And this is why I think this is such good news. There are facts and there is meaning, right? The facts are fixed. The meaning is optional. But most of us treat our meaning, our interpretation, our opinions as if it's the truth. Now, maybe the facts are that you drank more than you wanted for a period of your life. You can get even more specific. I drank X glasses more than I wanted to for X number of years. That's it. Those are the facts, right? You can strip it right back to that. But the opinion and the meaning you have attached to this, things like I have no willpower, I kept failing, I should be past this by now, I've wasted so much time. Those are not facts. Those are interpretations that you have practiced and practiced a lot, and anything you've practiced you get good at, but that's okay because you can now start to practice something new and get equally good at the new thing. So here is the homework element. I like to give homework, something I want you to try. I want you might want to sit down as you do this, the first time at least. I want you to think of one moment from your past that you feel bad about. Like I would think back to this party in the hotel. I want you to think of a specific moment where your drinking led you somewhere you didn't want to go. Maybe it cost you something, or where you look back and you just wish you'd handled it differently. It might be yesterday, right? It might be something that you did an hour ago, right? It's still in the past. It still happened. And now I want you to notice, as you bring this memory up, I want you to notice the thought you're currently attaching to it, right? It might be something like, I can't believe I did that. Oh, there I go again. Oh, why do I keep screwing up? Why do I keep making the same mistake? I should be over this by now. Whatever it is, there's going to be some flavor of that. And now I want you to try this instead, all right? Just this one sentence. She didn't know yet. And if you're one of my men listeners, of course, he didn't know yet. All right? Whatever fits. Because that is the truth. That version of you was operating with the knowledge, the tools, and the understanding they had at the time. They were not failing. They just didn't know what they needed to know yet. Right? You wouldn't look at someone learning to fly a plane and feel shame, right, when they're not able to just take off immediately. Or maybe let's take it more back down to earth. If someone is driving a car, maybe you're taking your teenager out. Oh my gosh, gray hair territory. And, you wouldn't feel ashamed. They wouldn't feel shame for them stalling the car. No. You wouldn't look at someone learning a language and cringe that they get the grammar wrong, right? They just don't know those things yet. And here's why this matters. Beyond just feeling better. Although feeling better is a completely valid reason on its own. This matters because how you think about your past determines what you do today. What you do today. I want you to hear me on that. If you look back and see failure, you're going to bring that feeling of failure into your present. It makes you feel like someone who can't get things right, who can't get this right. And then people who feel like they can't get this right are much less likely to take action that would prove themselves wrong. Those so-called failed attempts were not failures. They were just part of the process. Most people change by circling the same insight over and over until it finally lands, right? Until the same old story loses its grip. What if nothing went wrong? What if everything you did brought you exactly to this moment? But if you look back and you see someone who just didn't have the skills yet, that's a completely different story. That's someone who always was going to get here, always was going to accomplish what you want to. It just took the time it did. You are not that person anymore, right? I don't mean that in a motivational poster kind of way. I mean literally. That woman, that version of me, who booked that hotel room without a second's thought, genuinely could not see what I see now, right? She wasn't choosing to be limited. She wasn't choosing to be limited by the thought that she couldn't have fun without wine. I just was, right? She just was. And now I'm not. That's how change works, right? This is not a tragedy. It's how change works. You do not drink today because of what you did 5 or 10 years ago. Even if you maybe are really embarrassed or upset or whatever about what you were doing then. You drink today because of what you believe about that history, what you believe about what those incidents or whatever it is you want to tell yourself, whatever that means to you. You change your belief and the future will open up. The story, and it is a story, the story you keep repeating is the story that will shape and influence what happens next. And you are the author of that. You have all the power. Beating up that past version of you or feeling embarrassed or sad or whatever it is for that past version of you helps nobody. It doesn't give you the time back. It doesn't make you more motivated. It just makes you feel worse today, right? And you've spent enough time feeling worse than you need to. Leave that version of you where she is. She did her best, or he did his best, and now you get to do yours. All right, now I want to talk, I promised this at the beginning, to a very specific group of people, to my lovely listeners. If you have been listening to this podcast for months, maybe longer, and you keep thinking, oh, I really should book a call with Anna. If that thought has crossed your mind more than once and you haven't done it yet, I want you to hear this. That time isn't wasted. You weren't ready and now maybe you are, right? I talk a lot about we can choose and decide to be ready, even if we don't feel it. Sitting here thinking I should have done this sooner is just another version of the same pattern we've been talking about today, right? You're feeling bad today because of something you think you should have done already. And then you think, I've wasted all of that time. All of this thinking, this is optional. That version of you before, she didn't know yet, and now she does. But my friend, what is not optional is what you do next, right in this very moment. You can keep listening to my podcast, and I truly hope you do. But if part of you knows that what you actually need is someone in your corner working through this with you properly in a way that is very specific to your life and how that drinking shows up, whether it's mainly a home alone drinker, or maybe it's when you're going out partying, whatever it is for you, right? Then that time for that is now. The time to think about that and decide is now, not next month, not when things calm down, but now, right? You make the decision now so that in 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 months, who knows, 5 years time, you're not looking back and thinking, I should have done it then. I want you to think the people, and I have one of my lovely clients, actually, I think she's going to be on next week's episode. The people who are finishing up now, working with me, they're through it, right? Moving on with their lives, like my lovely client next week. They made this decision for themselves 6 months ago. They are where you are now, and they decided to say yes to themselves. What are you going to decide? If you have been listening to me for a while, you know by now how I operate. You know by now how I work with people, even if you haven't done it firsthand, right? I'm very open about who I am and how I work with people. So I just want you to go ahead. You know you're ready, even if you don't feel it. I have an episode on that. You know you're ready. Go ahead and book that consult call with me, that consultation where we'll talk about where you are, where you want to be. And on the call, I will clear up all of your confusion, right? Your personal confusion about why you're stuck in this pattern. And I will build the exact step-by-step path to get you, and where I'd walk you through, holding your hand along that path to get you to your desired result, right? That's what we do. Then you get to see what's possible, and it is such fun. Right? If you listen to any of the previous podcast episodes, I've had my lovely clients on talking, they will always say that this is about getting to know themselves. And that is the most delightful subject for you to become an expert in. So go ahead, go to 90dayslater.co, click on that book a call, get your time with me, and let's just start making this happen. So that in the future, when you look back at your past, right, we're changing how we look at our past. You actually don't need to change this piece of it. You can say, yeah, I did that and I'm proud and I am so glad I did. All right, I will see you next week. If this episode hit home and you're ready to explore what life could look like with alcohol in the back seat, let's talk. I work with people one-on-one who are ready to create the relationship with alcohol that works for them, so they feel powerful in their choices and at peace with their habits. Go to 90dayslater.co and click on book a call, or grab one of the free guides in the show notes to this episode. And if this podcast is helping you, a rating or review goes a long way to help others find this work too.